when I just stand here and think about what was done here. The people that went through here, generations of Jackson people that worked here in some capacity.
80 miles west of Detroit is Jackson, Michigan. Population 33,000. Like so many other small Midwestern towns dependent on manufacturing, the last few decades have been tough on Jackson, as companies marched in lockstep out of this town in search of cheaper labor. Companies like Goodyear, Clark Equipment, and the century-old maker of aerospace and auto parts, Sparton Corporation, all have vanished from Jackson.
Michigan, and Jackson especially, had a difficult time pretty much since 9/11. The economy never really recovered in the state of Michigan. The first decade of the new century is a lost decade for Michigan because we were in the process of relearning ourselves, literally rebranding Jackson.
Today, Spartan's legacy lives in a local museum, but for more than 100 years, Jackson and Spartan were inextricable. Located a stone's throw outside the city limits, Spartan employed thousands of Jacksonians. Founded in 1900, it crafted the first electric car horn for the likes of Ford and Chrysler. Later, it made submarine tracking devices used in the Cuban Missile Crisis. William Sparks, Spartan's president, was a 3-term mayor of Jackson, and during the Great Depression kept hundreds of Jacksonians employed by building a 465-acre public park with illuminated waterfalls. In other words, Jackson was Spartan's town.
Spartan had been a part of Jackson for a long time, and if you talk to people in the area, they had a relative, a friend that had worked there. At one time, 1 out of every 15 people in the community had worked at Spartan, which was incredible to me. Everybody knew about Spartan.
Pressed by thin margins and underutilized facilities, Spartan wound up on the verge of bankruptcy. And when it brought in a new CEO to turn the company around, locals weren't happy with the new direction.
I was aware of this feeling of an outsider coming in. I had been at the company for 15 years at the time, and in many ways I was considered an outsider because we were trying to save the company. I would get phone calls at night from people that I wouldn't know where they came from, and I would get stopped in the community and say, "What are you doing to this company?"
In 2009, Spartan finally closed up shop and left Jackson for good, its headquarters bound for Illinois and its manufacturing headed to Florida and Vietnam.
I'm not a politician. I'm not going to win a popularity contest, and I'm not here to do it. I'm just here to apply my experience in fixing what I see as a very real problem with a solution to it. And you're going to have to just trust I know what I'm doing. Even if they don't feel like they're the best decisions for you, they're the right decisions for the collective good. I'm here to do a job, and we've done it.
Nevertheless, some saw it as the final blow for a town already on the ropes.
When a company like that has been involved in the county and city government and also its local politics for so long, when it moves out of town, it can be a little devastating to you. It's almost like your big brother moving away.
Yeah, there was a travesty for closing Jackson. Everybody knew it. I knew it. Spartan, made Jackson. Jackson made Spartan.
After 25 years working at Spartan, Joe Loring's bitterness is palpable. To others, though, Spartan's departure was just another company leaving Jackson behind. A familiar scenario played out over and over again.
This was part of what happened and what's happened across the country, and we were living that.
It was here a long time and employed a lot of people, but I don't think it's, quote, missed by anyone.
Today, Jackson is trying to put the pieces of its economy back together, but it won't be with manufacturing. Instead, leading Jackson's economic growth is its state prison, a hospital, and the utility company Consumers Energy. After an arson fire tore through the old factory on Ganson Street in 2011, the only thing left of Spartan is a pile of rubble.
Very, very sad to see because it was part of, spent so many years here, and it was part of this, and I hadn't thought about it really that could happen, you know, and the place was gone because there was so much wood in it and combustible materials, and it was so old that I just felt that, you know, once it started on fire, it was going to burn to the ground, and that's exactly what happened.